and I ended up institutionalized, although not for my drinking and drugging, although drinking and drugging had a big part. And as soon as I got out of the hospital, I said, forget that. It's one class, whatever. I'll go back and take it whenever I want. You know, I want to go out. I want to go party, enjoy my life. And that's what I did. And unfortunately, the school closed. And I said for a long time, yeah, I was just planning to go back. And I held this resentment because now I still have to pay these school loans. And I don't have the very expensive, very stupid piece of paper that I will never use. And it wasn't until now, so that's 2014, and it's now 2020, that I'm finally over that and was like, all right, you got to do this. It's something that, because I was very school oriented and really loved college. I took an insane amount of credits, so I have enough credits to have it. But, you know, I went so far away in my drinking and drugging from the person who wanted that. And it's challenging going back now. But, you know, there was no doubt in my mind, step one, that, you know, I was powerless over alcohol. You know, it started where I was going out just on weekends, you know, because that's when the baby would go to her dad's. And then it became, I picked up a night job. And whenever I worked, it was like the clock was ticking, you know, even if we got out at midnight, you know, I knew the bartender. So we're going to the bar, we're getting locked into the bar at 7 a.m. You know, and it made my life unmanageable. I was missing the bus for my kid. I totaled 4 cars. I, you know, was out all hours of the night. My mother, you know, as a, you know, basically college graduate, was tracking my phone to see where I was. There was one time she found me in a parking lot because I was too obliterated to come home. I hadn't come home that night, and she had my daughter in the back seat. I've driven drunk with my daughter in the car. I have done drugs with my daughter right in the back seat. I took out the money from my student loans and put it towards alcohol and booze because I couldn't hold a job because, you know, drinking and drugging took priority. And so it was in June 23rd of 2017. It was my daughter's last day of school. And it was my last day at home. And that's how I broke it to her. I said, Mommy's going away for a while. And I got on this plane having no idea where I was going. There's somebody, I was like still out of my mind. Somebody was like, oh, where are you going? You taking a nice trip, dude? I was like, I don't fucking know. Turns out I was going to Las Vegas, Nevada. So I first got sober in Las Vegas, Nevada. And they have this saying that, you know, you party hard, you recover hard. And let me tell you, I walked into that place a wreck. I walked into that place hating myself in every ounce of my being. I walked into that place with bruises and cuts that I didn't know where they came from, and you know, completely hopeless, demoralization. You know, how could this happen to me? I was a good student. I was an athlete. You know, I had a baby, and I went back to school 6 weeks later, and I got my 2-year degree, and I almost had my 4-year degree. I didn't want it anyway, you know. How did this happen? And in that facility, they brought AA and NA speakers in, and I remember that first AA meeting, sitting in the back of the room in absolute tears. You know, when they did my intervention, my family, they said, you know, you have a problem with drugs and alcohol. I said, no, they're my solution. The problem is with me. Like, I always knew that, but I always felt that nobody understood me. Nobody got it. If you were to walk a mile in my shoes, you'd be doing what I'm doing too. You know how hard my life is and how much I've been through. And at that first meeting, I got it. I said, holy crap, this is where I belong, and I'm not alone. And I've had that attraction to 12-step programs, specifically AA, for that reason. You know, and seeing that I was powerless and life was unmanageable with drugs and alcohol was not really a problem when it comes to the second step and coming to believe that I could be restored to sanity. I was never sane. What are you restoring? That was kind of my take. But, you know, that getting out of that pattern of every time something is wrong, running to that drink, running to that drug, or anytime something goes good, oh, let's go party, let's go drink, let's go drug. You know, that, you know, I definitely believe that today I've come a long way from the AA that I understood then. You know, I took bits and chunks of pieces like cafeteria style AA that definitely helped me along the way, but the understanding I have that of it now is very different. You know, I'm crazy, but I'm not insane, I like to say. And I do today believe, you know, that a power greater than me can restore me to sanity. When it came to making the decision to turn my will and my life over to God, oh, if I don't think I've ever met an alcoholic who isn't strong-willed. You know, if there's something that I want to go for, nothing's going to stand in my way unless I pick up the drink or the drug, and then that's going to totally derail me at this stage in the game. But, you know, I really, again, selectively decided what parts of my life and what parts of my will I was going to turn over to God. And I used to get very angry when people are like, God is everything or he's nothing. Today, that has to be my reality. If I'm not turning every single problem that I have over to my higher power, then I'm holding the steering wheel and things are going to get smashed. So that's just my reality today. Luckily, I did go into step 4. I finally just got through the steps, if I can digress, this time of sobriety. My sobriety date as of now is October 28th, 2019. I'm back at 223 days sober. Last year, I had a sobriety date of December 28th, 2018. So I made it about 10 months sober. But I was on steps 1, 2, and 3. I re-geared this time around and joined a program where they are very serious about the book and jumping into the book. If you are in a hospital and you are not feeling well, are you going to sit there for a year before you get the medicine? Go through the steps, get a sponsor, get a home group, go through the steps. That is the program of AA. Coming on these meetings is wonderful, but this is a program of action, you know, and I that was my personal experience. I had to go through and do the work in order to feel the magic. And I'm a little bit of a cornball like that. I do believe that magic exists. You know, so I did. I was searching and I was fearless. I really tried to write down anything and everything. Like, I already knew it. What did it hurt to write it down? And I knew that while I was going through it the first time, I was like, oh, but I'm gonna have to tell somebody. Like, if I don't do it and then I go out and drink, I may be dead. And then why was I worried about somebody else hearing it? Like, I'm not even gonna get there. So staying in the moment is like so super important to me. And, you know, hearing myself say it out loud and having my sponsor come back to me and be like, yep, I did that. I did that. Oh, and I did this. You know, we really created a dynamic where it was more of a conversation. And she said, yeah, okay, well, you did that, but, you know, you're good at this. She was very good at keeping me right-sized, keeping me balanced. So it's not something that I would say to do alone. And in doing that, I was able to then pinpoint where my part was. That wasn't something I considered. I had a problem with the world. It wasn't me that was wrong. There's something messed up in me, but it's because of the circumstances I was in. And, you know, a lot of the times, and even today, I say to myself all the time, okay, what did I do to place myself in a position to be hurt? Because I do that, you know. I think everything that happens, you know, is a reflection on usually the things that I've done in the past. I try hard to keep it that way. And I do use my 10th step as a daily inventory to try and continuously better myself. But now I have an idea, you know, the causes and conditions, because now I'm free of alcohol. Now what's still wrong? You know, I've heard over and over, and I come to AA for my drinking and I stay for my thinking, because if I don't continuously work on this program and, you know, be ready for God to remove the things that are getting in my way of my day-to-day life, because I am my biggest obstacle, you know, and humbly ask that he remove them, not demand it, because it's very easy to demand it. I have to be nice, even though I don't want to be all the time. You know, it's continued daily work for me. You know, luckily I made that a list of amends, and I got through that amends. And that's when, you know, I really felt the magic. I really felt like nothing from my past has to define me anymore. because I am not that person. And I was in a relationship where somebody tried to throw that back in my face. Well, you did this and you did that and you did. I made my amends. I took my case up with God, and guess what? The case was dismissed. I can only do God's work. And I heard it in a meeting the other day. I can't do God's job. I don't get to determine the outcome. I just have to put in the effort, put in the work, and God willing, I'll end up in the right place. And it's been quite the journey, but now today I get to luckily work with a sponsor and try and take her through the steps. I have a job that I love. It was a job that I messed up in my alcoholism. It was like when I finally got better, and then I relapsed and I made things 30 million gazillion times worse. And so I'm back in school, and hopefully we'll be going into dental school, and my kid loves me, and I have the best relationship with her dad. Not that I like him all the time, but I can deal with him, which is nice. And it's amazing how many of the problems disappear when I stop drinking, because a lot of people's problems with me is because I'm messed up and I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm drinking and I'm making a fool of myself. I still make a fool of myself, but it's all in good fun now. I really wouldn't trade life today for anything what it was. I remember my life today. Not like, oh crap, what did I do? Who did I piss off? Who did I hurt? How did I break my ankle? That was the thing that really happened. This summer I'm actually leaving in 2 weeks, going back to a camp that I went to when I was a kid, and I get to be, they put me in like a super